You're basically like a Green Lantern that gets distracted halfway through.
Yeah.
It's like doing anything.
Essentially, I'm a Green Lantern that doesn't think before she acts.
Hello and welcome to the after show. I guess.
How was that for a cold open?
I liked it. It was good. I did everybody have fun?
Yeah,
Yes,
I think
massively.
that worked really well.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that we've made as few changes as we have just as playing.
Yeah.
Like the basics were all kind of in place.
I feel like the ultimate acid test is, can we play a game? Did the system support it? And did we have fun? And all of those are yeses.
Yeah.
I've often thought that, like, I don't know, it's like when you, I think I've said this like in private to all of you, but it's like when you buy into an RPG system, you're buying into the lore and the extended rules. Like the thing that makes kind of D&D more interesting than just swordsman and magic is because it has such a rich history, and they have thought of every conceivable, pretty much every outcome, and written a rule for it. I mean, because this is our own world, we don't need quite as much scaffolding to hold it together.
I mean, I've always heard D&D described to like the games you used to play on your playground. You know, when you were like, well, I've got a laser gun. Well, I've got a laser shield. Well, my gun is stronger than your shield, and all that. It's that, but with a structure to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we already have the playground, don't we? We already have that environment in which we can do things. So when I, for example, suggest things that my character can do, they're based on things that either we've seen Vatch do or that we are aware of because of the lore and logic of our universe, a LAMP user can use. So, yeah, we have got a strong basis for it. And all we'd have to do is put all of that into it. If we wanted to put this out as a book, we just have to put a lot of that info in.
Did you all enjoy your characters?
Very much.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a long preference of playing just the grumpy scientist in any kind of role-playing game because that's basically me, and I'm not a good actress. So
well, they always say, don't you, like role play something close to your heart. Yeah.
I think you did really well, actually. I know it's like, all the questions you were asking, they were making me think on my feet, but that was kind of good. Like, yeah, you were the grumpy scientist and you were looking for kind of like answers, but everything you were asking made sense. Like it felt in character. It felt kind of right. I do like your character, Ali, as well. Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's like
I'm very weak.
well, I don't know though, because you had some bad luck.
Yeah.
In the fight, it was more luck for you, but you did you contributed a lot to the adventure in terms of like accessing technology, opening doors, all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't, like, combat is not the be all and end all of the definition of your character. Because I was kind of at some points in the adventure, I was feeling kind of useless in a way, but then of course when it came to fighting, I completely smashed it because that's what my strength is. So we were kind of opposites in that respect, I guess.
But that's something I was quite keen on when John and I were first talking about this whole thing, and I was trying to put together a system that would work with very few rules but would work for any situation. Is that I've always found that D&D is a little too combat focused.
Just
like
on
it's
combat.
So many rules in that book. Such a large chunk of that book is purely how to run combat, and I was like, why couldn't we just have the same rules that run every possible interaction that you have in the world? And I'm glad that we could all do something different, and we could have non-combative characters actually doing stuff in the story. Although it turns out I'm pretty mean with a spear.
Yeah, it does.
That spear might be a little OP.
Well, I don't know. I mean, these guys were... as a kind of like point of contrast, I was saying that, well, you all had like 16 health.
Yeah.
So the
Purely by accident.
The kind of zombies, I was saying, had 8 health. Right. I was saying, so they were starting at, half your starting point because they were weakened. They were not healthy people. I'm trying to think, the first one, you stabbed him right through the chest. You did like 6 damage to him. Which seemed fair, it's like, and that was pretty devastating. Like, he was still on his feet. I wasn't giving him any kind of like disadvantages. In fact, I might have said, if he was a healthier person, I might have said that, like, you gave him a glancing blow or something. Yeah. But with this guy, given his kind of like disheveled state. So you were fighting weakened people, and you weren't demolishing them. I mean, like, one of them was still pretty much at full health. Like, he was still okay.
Yeah.
One rule I kind of had to make up on the fly was the idea of like retaliation.
Yes, that's a good idea though.
Because the way you said with combat is that like the attacker rolls a combat roll. Yeah. You roll a defense roll if both are kind of story fitting. Yeah. So attacking with strength, defending with dexterity or something, which I think you did at one point. Yeah. And we were saying, like, if the attack is higher than the defense roll, the attack is successful, and the damage done is the difference between.
Because I was thinking it's the difference between managing to thoroughly block something with your shield or having it like skim off the edge and maybe like slice at your elbow or something, you know.
But then I was also thinking we didn't really have a rule for like what if the defense is super high, like massively over the attack, which did happen a couple of times. Then I was like, you know what, that's a good point for like a retaliation, and maybe that might be better to say in future once we get this more settings going. We could say if it's a certain amount over, or if it's like X, here's the number you need to look at, and then it seemed fair to give you another attack. Because otherwise I felt combat might be a bit kind of slow.
Well, yeah, I mean, and again, in D&D, that's always a problem. But you get like attacks of opportunity occasionally. Like if you manage to surprise a character, the DM would say, you have an attack of opportunity, do a thing. And people can spend a long time arguing over whether they got an attack of opportunity.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. But I think so much of what makes a good RPG game and what makes a good DM is someone who does just like on some elements sort of react on the fly, and you did do that. So,
well, thank you. I mean, like you guys were actually all amazing. Like I don't think I can stress that enough. Like you were working as a team. You were kind of coming up with like new ways of thinking. Like I honestly didn't imagine you'd go in through the cargo hatch. Honestly, really? I thought you'd try and get in through the dome. I don't know why I assumed that, but so I mean,
so all of that stuff with the broken crane and all that was invented, like you came up with that on the fly.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
But but it makes you talking about like the water, like where did all the water go? And I was like, that's a really good point. Like where did all the water go? Like that's fun.
It is. Yeah.
Thinking about the Eva suits, like I never would have imagined you'd have kind of gone for that. Like that's really clever. So yeah, fair play to you all.
Cool. Well, no, I really enjoyed it. I think the skeleton of it, and in fact more of it, I think it works.
Yeah. I think if I had some balancing ideas, I think possibly we need to reduce the number of universe points that there are. I know towards the end there we were all picking up power points to boost our attacks, but we've still got quite a lot of everything left over.
Yeah.
And I know we're not done in this universe yet, but still it's
I think that's the big thing, isn't it? It's
I was going to say,
how
like,
much
are
more
we
adventure
done?
is there?
Yeah.
And I guess we haven't decided, like I think I said, like, it'll replenish once everybody's slept or something. Like, you have to have a period of time for it to replenish.
Or I'd like to say, or maybe like, I know an adventure is a bit arbitrary because that's a bit metagaming, but you could say that, like, this is just how many you have
in the story.
For this story, basically.
I think so.
How many are left in each, by the way?
We have 5 power, 7 soul. I can't actually see the other 2.
7, what was that?
That one's logic.
And 7 change.
How many? 7 logic?
7 logic, 7 change.
7 change. Okay, so, I mean...
Did you make notes of all of that?
I've just made a note of that now.
Yeah, so I was going to say that's quite important, isn't it?
Well, again, a lot of this was kind of like playing it by ear and seeing how well you all did. But I'd say we're probably about halfway through.
Oh, right,
now.
okay.
I mean, it's not that I feel we could just keep going and going and going. It's not like there's a big weight to it now, but it's like we've done all this in one kind of session. I basically think one more session will see us to the end. So maybe more than halfway through, maybe 60, 2/3 of the way through, perhaps. But
okay.
And is there any element of levelling up?
Well, no. See, I thought it all kind of worked well without it because what I thought would happen is as you got further into an adventure, as you got further into a character, you would find more items, you would get loot, you would get things that would, in effect, level you up because they would give you this sort of stat boosts, like the way our weapons give us a strength boost. You could find a better weapon and that would give you more strength if you're using that weapon.
Yeah, I like that, to be fair. It's the Zelda levelling up model, and I think it's good.
I also think it's simpler. Like, leveling up again, D&D, which is the only one I have a real sense of, although I've played a few other RPG types. Leveling up is like you get to the end of a session, it's another 20 minutes afterwards going through all the charts and tables, figuring out which dice you have to roll. And I was like,
you just get a better
want to get on with the actual role playing because that's always been the bit I really love. And that's, I think, the main disadvantage to a lot of the big RPGs, particularly like D&D is the classic example, but also Eclipse Phase. Like the amount of time you spent looking through your massive skill list to try and figure out whether you could do something or not because it was like half the page was just full of skills that you had to associate things with. And I think I'm interested in the cipher system, which I've been reading up a lot about, which is kind of where I pulled the idea of the pools, like the stat pools that you can draw from, because that's how Cypher works, that you as a character don't have stats, you have points that you can add to something to make it more likely to happen. And that seemed much quicker and faster. And in that case, in Cypher, you'd level up by increasing your pool size.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought basically the system here is that you get or find items or buy items that you can then modify your character with.
Could our ability to tap into the universe expand, perhaps? Whether you earn extra...
Well, I mean, here's a question, isn't it? Like, maybe there should be... Maybe it's less about how much... how you balance how much verse energy there is, and maybe more a limit in how much you can use per moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I did have the idea that obviously this is an utterly bland universe, like as John was describing it. It is an abiotic grey desert.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite sensible that we have utterly even amounts of each element available here. If you go to a more extreme universe that's got one thing over another, you could not have as much soul and have more power, and so then it's like, well, if I want to do anything soul based, I can't, because I can't ever modify it. You know,
that's a very good.
I mean,
idea.
I took from every single type in this game.
I only took power and change.
I didn't take any soul, but I took the other.
Now, interestingly, there wasn't obviously any opportunity for charisma because there were no people,
Nobody to talk to.
no people interactions. Yeah, it was interesting. I really liked inspiration.
Yeah.
I liked being able to throw that in on occasion.
Yeah, that was good.
Intelligence and knowledge, I think, functioned fairly well. We may need to rename them in a weird way. Like, I like what they each do.
Intelligence is not quite the word I was looking for.
Problem solving, like deduction or something
because
like that.
it doesn't make much sense that my character has very high knowledge and very low intelligence. Like, the other way around can make more sense, because you can have a lot of raw intelligence but not have studied
You could call
much.
it problem solving.
Or like speed of thought, problem solving, kind of.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting
agility.
that you used...
Mental agility.
It was interesting that you used strategy as initiative.
It was the best I could think of. I mean, I liked...
Yeah, I did notice that, yeah.
Because initiative is very... You know, there's a reason it's copied.
Yeah.
Because it's a really useful system.
It sets the frame, doesn't it, for the upcoming battle?
Yeah. But I like the idea that you could use strategy as it could occasionally be used as a combat thing. I think there's a case to be made for, you could say, well, look, I'm neither strong nor fast, but I could convince me why, as a DM, I should let you use strategy.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm going to think about it and I'm going to be really smart in my attack. But I like the idea. But I think, Lucy, you said something at some point that like kind of strategy could almost work as like an after the fact thing.
Like, what did you do to prepare for this event that's just happened?
So it's like something sudden happens, hence like the strategy roll. I just wanted to see kind of like how you did. And then it's like what you rolled, I ended up using to dictate the order of combat.
Yeah.
And
I think it made sense. I think it worked pretty well.
Yeah, it does make sense.
I mean, and it's like Ali, like, you know, you were saying, I think you felt like your character didn't do a lot in combat, but I felt that what you did from a story perspective was very, like, real. You know, it's like, to your credit, it's like you were attacked, you were blindsided by a psychic blob. You know, you took some damage but recovered. You know, you turned and shot at it. Yeah. You know, you threw a cat at it. You know,
Anyone would do.
You know, and you didn't die.
Yeah.
You know, like that's pretty.
That's a good result.
That's pretty awesome, really. Yeah.
Not many people can say the same.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think, like I said, you guys all did amazingly. So thank you so much.
It was good.
You did really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed your DMing. So.
Well, thank you. We can.
We shall have to do this again. Find out what happens in the big dark hole of darkness.
I want to know.
Yeah. We're all dead.
Yeah. Just our bleached skeletons are found there 200 years later.
This episode is very short.
20 seconds long. John just describes our bodies.